look at the sky. It's quite leaden. We've had showers rolling through. It's 246 kilometres in length today, and if the sun does shine upon us, then yes, there are some sights to behold in this beautiful region of Calabria. We're down towards the toe of the boot that makes up Italy, and it is quite spectacular. Let's check out what we're dealing with, shall we? It looks quite benign early on, and it's tempted escapees. We'll get to those in just a few moments' time. They're already on course, and we're around about the halfway mark, at least as the crow flies. Unfortunately, crows don't fly up and down mountains, and these guys are going to have to do exactly that. Or I know they do, but anyway, you get the point. Late on is where the real action comes. Check this out. So a couple of lumps and bumps, and time to sort of amble along, you might think. Speed's reasonably high at the moment. We're approaching 40 kilometres per hour as an average after 3 hours of racing. But when we get to those last two climbs, it is going to be brutal. Well, they started off this morning after quite a transfer, to be honest. And as you can see, overcast, not the sun that we've had over the last couple of days. And time to sort of get inside the cafes and have yourself a quick espresso. Espresso, the demand of the quick men today. Will they manage to do something? We'll see. It's going to be one for the GC contenders, but really, again, a little bit of a classicist's day. Well, it was sunny when they were signing on. Yeah, it's time to go for it if you're going to set your stall out. Interesting that all of the GC contenders, or a whole raft of them yesterday, kind of huddled together early on. Nobody wanting to lose time, and I think 20-second bonuses at the finish line for the day's winner really speaks volumes. Sant'Ambrogio was part of proceedings yesterday. Ryder Hajidal did a great job, tried his level best, using a little bit of inside knowledge, it seemed, just to get himself into a decent position on at the right moment. Certainly a man to watch. Oh dear, as you can see, we have had our knocks, have we not? Paolini, 36 years of age, taking the jersey off the 23-year-old Salvatore Puccio. So doing it for the old guys yesterday. Rolling out in sunshine, I can tell you it's not like that at the finish today. So Godspeed to them all. And finally, we got the get-go. Sadiq Kassar was one of the non-starters after falling yesterday, and falling hard enough. I think it was a wrist injury that has put him out. And as you can see, it was a feisty start once again along the coast. Lovely, lovely part of the world. So everyone looking at each other. Pim Lichthart, one of those. He was third in Wallonia. Yes, for back on Soleil, so the sunburst to the fore yet again. A couple of teams with teammates together, which always helps. One of the late pushes trying to join the party. Tamaridis getting alongside Aya Minguez, his teammate from Euskaltel Euskadi, so a couple of men in orange out front. Le Bon from Francis Dejeux, second in the Trobro Lyon. So yeah, he up there. He was also fourth in Japan, let's not forget. Katusha also, in fact, Katusha not represented. Anthony Wow, I beg your pardon, from Francis Dejeux, also with Le Bon. So we're just coming to them right now. This is AG2R's Julien Berard just hitting the front. And no great urgency from behind. Best placed of the men in the escape, Emanuele Sella from Andrioni Giacatoli. Yes, he 2 minutes and 39 seconds down on the leader, which of course is yesterday's stage winner, Luca Paolini. It just shows you that if you saw yesterday's stage win, the bonus seconds rack up good and high, and indeed Paolini starts today with a nice little cushion overall, courtesy of his efforts yesterday. Yes, those bonus seconds absolutely crucial, and it draws enthusiasm not only from the escapees but also from the general classification contenders. Down with so many bonus seconds up for grabs each day, it's making it very, very lively this Giro.
Yeah, there's a lot to fight for when it's not just the stage win on offer, but also the leader's pink jersey. And this has really been a great thing for obviously Luca Paolini and his Katusha team, but also for the GC riders. It's exactly what they wanted. It was a team without a GC favourite to go into the leader's jersey. They'll want to defend that and do all of the work and keep it for as long as they possibly can, which means the likes of Team Sky, Astana, Garmin Sharp, they'll just sit back and let them take control and just come to the front when they want to. So perfect scenario for all of the GC teams here. He's been so anonymous so far. I mean, he had the only time he was on our screen was before he came on air when he crashed in the team time trial warming up. Not seen him at all since then. So
maybe he's maybe he's fed up.
Let me have a look, see where he finished yesterday. Kobo in the overall classification, 17 minutes and 6 seconds down, finished 180th. On the stage. You can go for him if you want.
No, at the risk of sounding like a stuck record, I think I might go for Santa Broggio today. There you go. I'll stick with that, and it'll be the first day that I'll pick him and stick him.
He's 180th overall. Let's see where he finished on yesterday's stage. But yeah, a long way off for somebody that won a Grand Tour just less than 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a funny one today. It's all about that pinch point. Frankly, I think that Garmin, they've shown such wile and guile when it comes to scrutinising the course map. I think that the day's winner might well come from their ranks, but we shall see. We shall see. It's although the climbs today aren't by any means alpine, they most certainly are a test, and some of the switchbacks down are really, really focused. I think some of them, although they're within an average, which is always has to be taken over 100 metres an average, and I think the most focused ramp is at 10%, but I think some of the switchbacks are probably an awful lot more than that, sort of 14, 18. They're really in the car today. We were really struggling to get up something.
Yeah, they.
Mind you, the car's not that powerful. Go on.
I think it's started to struggle with power to weight now. They're not super steep, but they're very in quick succession, and especially if it's wet, I think that's going to also make positioning crucial at the start of this climb, because those hairpins and that town comes right at the start of the climb up towards the finish, and it's also kind of tree line, isn't it? There's quite a lot of kind of slippery stuff on the road, which might also play an effect. The speed these guys go up those kind of gradients is quite incredible, so we might see them having to even brake for a couple of the corners on the climbs like they were doing yesterday. I mean, it is steeper than yesterday's long climb, but it's longer as well, so I'm really looking forward again to this last 40-50 kilometres.
Yeah, very much so. And may not be alpine, but some of the guys who really can climb properly were punching hard and fast yesterday. Just as I've mentioned, Santa Broggio, up come Vini Fantini. Incidentally, the chap who was second in the Trentino and seventh in the Tirreno Adriatico is sitting 39 seconds down, and finished strongly yesterday as well. So yeah, I'm rather chipper about it. No secret, I've got a little wager on him, but that's not actually spurring me on. Well, actually it is, but I'm trying to ignore that. 75 kilometres to go. 4 minutes and 52 is the gap. You know what? They've done a proper job here. La Mezza Terme. There's an airport here if you want to visit the Therme. And it's their international airport. I'm not quite sure how international it is, but we're not that far from Sicily, by the way. Absolutely beautiful part of the planet. If ever you do fancy taking yourself a holiday, it gets a lot of negative press for lots of strange reasons, but yes, they are always immensely welcoming when it comes to tourists in this part of the world, and so it proved last night, especially if you happen to be a policeman. That way you got fed. Unfortunately, the chef had gone and the food was already made, so unless a copper was going to hand over his plate of pasta with clams, I was going to go hungry. So well, I went hungry. 74.4. Can you tell I'm bitter about that? 4 minutes and 44 the gap, and there's a chap on Twitter called Vashta Tour, I think, and just standard Frisians on display today. Yes, none of your Belgian blues that we actually like about, or he does, tweets about them. So whenever he spots a cow on tour, he goes mental, identifying them, that kind of thing. There are some people who pick the strangest things to tweet, by the way. There's I think Antti McCrossan, actually, who's one of the podium callers here at the Giro d'Italia, actually features roller toasters and reviews of them in all the hotels he stays in, which is quite a substantial number throughout the year. Draw your own conclusions. Here we go. This is something a little bit more than a magic spanner, because this is not called for. This is Gregor Boller. just getting an adjustment to his connector onto the seat, top of the seat post. So obviously just a little bit loose, or maybe just a little bit nose high, which is about the last thing you want.
Yeah, a few adjustments just being made to his saddle. That's actually an ex-mechanic from Garmin. I was just looking at my notes, and as I looked up, I thought, he's got a hairy behind. I wonder what was happening as soon as I looked up then. Yeah, just a few minor adjustments being made. This is the time to do it on this flat road before the real action starts, which will take another 20 kilometres or so. But you can see the main GC teams amassing at the front. On the top of your screen in turquoise, the Astana team. Closely, or just right next to them on their right-hand side, Team Sky, Vini Fantini and BMC also amassing towards the front. I think Garmin are even a little bit further up than that. We've got the lights of Orica Green Edge hovering around the back, including the pink jersey, actually. Luca Paolini also there, just his last piece of relaxation today before the climb starts in 22 kilometres time. 4 minutes 36 the gap, so it's kind of hovering now. It went up to 5 minutes at a point, and it was looking good for them. I'll be interested to see whether Katusha are going to try and bring this back or not. To me, they've got
comes, and so the descent is going to prove to be very, very important. I think there's going to be questions amongst the Euskaltel team as to the wisdom of loading their man up with water when he was still in position to go on to kick off, which is what he's done.
Might only be a third category climb, but they've still got 10 kilometres or more until they get to the top of it. There's a slight dip halfway up, which they'll be coming up to fairly shortly. You can see it is a narrow road. I can only assume that this is the kind of width that they'll be experiencing the majority of the way down the descent before they hit that final climb of the day. I'll give you more information on that exactly as we come to it. But the top of this one peaks at 39.2, so yeah, way more than 10 to go. 11 and 11.2 to go.
It's high speed at the moment. Yes, the pace is up, and oh gosh, what has he picked up? A piece of couch grass. Well, I mentioned it earlier on, and there it is. He's
lighter than a load of bottles, though.
It is an awful lot lighter than a load of bottles. He possibly doesn't. Yes, he's just realising it's there right now. Yeah, it's more annoying than anything else. I imagine the sound is probably just getting to him. But yes, unlikely to hamper him too much, although just a distraction. Vini Fantini chasing on. They're thinking about Sant'Ambrogio today. The escape group was 7. It's broken down as we approach that 50 to go mark. We have 2 men up the road, one of whom has had to just cast away a number of bidons which were handed to him as they expected the brake to actually fail. Minguez of Euskaltel Euskadi in the orange here. Well, he's decided to go off along with Julien Berard. It's that pairing just ahead of these two, just rolling on to them. It's Le Bon and Lichtert from Vacansoleil. The chase, though, behind them, we're all upon the penultimate climb of the day, which is why it's so lively right now. They have to be in a good position for the descent. Off that descent, they tee themselves up to a very, very nasty pinch point, which is roadworks. The road is only around about 8 feet wide. It is around about 2 meters, 2.5 meters, that's it. And so 2 riders side by side can get through. If they're mobbed like this, there's going to be hell to pay for, I tell you. So everyone is in a state of urgency at the moment, and none more so, it seems, than this young man. We say young man, we emphasise that because he's the youngest within his team. He's 24 years of age. It is Aya Minguez. There he is. The rest of his team are mostly, well, they are all over 30 years of age, and some of them well into their 30s as well. A lot expected of him, clearly, within such a team of veterans, and he is sprightly and going for it right now. So he's out front and proving that never ever hand a man a load of water bottles and expect him to drift back into the chasers, because he'll just go and do his own thing, albeit a little bit wobblier earlier on. So he's gone. They are fracturing though, and because of the reasons we've just outlined, the chase is on amongst the pack. And in terms of ambition, Vini Fantini showing most of it. They've been upping the pace as we hit the 50 to go marker. There it is, good and proper, thinking of Sant'Ambrogio. So that's the situation so far, and it is right now that this day absolutely kicks off.
I recognise him. Just going to have a quick look down to see exactly which rider it is.
It's
Pirazzi.
Pirazzi,
We saw
yeah.
a lot of Pirazzi last year when he was riding for the Colnago, which is the same team as he's in now, just a change of name, along with a couple of his other riders who are very animated, along with them Pozzovivo, who's now with the AG2R team. Doing well though, they've got quite a big gap over the rest of the bunch. Surprised not to see the likes of Movistar just working for Visconti to try and give him maximum chance of getting points over the top. Looks like these two are going to take it. My calculations, you've got 39.5 k's to go, or 39.2 when they reach the GPM, and they're just a few hundred metres away from that now.
Well, the advanced party of promotion trucks just rolling by us right now. So Pirazzi and Grech at the front of the race after Miguel Minguez was reabsorbed through the last village, and the racing for this. Pirazzi was very animated last year, as Daniel was mentioning, constantly in breaks it seems, and he's this is maybe well be his target. Certainly does a proper job and picks up those points here for this GPM King of the Mountains. And here come the rest.
Here comes Visconti, so enough to put him into the jersey by my calculations. He was on 8 overnight, just 1 point behind Willems. He's picked up 2 there, so he's now leading it by 1 point. Still that second category climb still to go. Let's see what happens there.
So over the top, and they're going to head onto the descent, and it is really raining now. It's proper stair rods at the finish, and you can see what it's doing to the camera lens. And unfortunately, it's all going to come down to a little tissue wipe to keep you in touch with what's happening on course. I can tell you now that the first of today's King of the Mountains points has been taken. Pirazzi crossing the line first. That's a job done for them. But the job is only just starting for the teams that are in pursuit, and it's now on the downhill. It kind of, if you like, going off the edge of a bowler hat here, it gets gradually steeper and steeper and steeper and steeper until it really drops down, almost plummets. Then we have a flat ramping section before we get to that pinch point with 23 kilometres to go. So that's Pirazzi, Grech and Visconti taking those points here. 2 points for Visconti. That was a good push by him. But here, the charge now on for everybody just to get themselves into a decent spot for that kick point, that pinch point that we told you, as they all climb up the second climb today. Very few helicopter shots because there's no vision through to the riders here, which is why we're on the ground with the motorcycles who are fighting their way through to keep you in touch with what's happening. It's all going to happen when it comes to that descent. Even the camera bikes are going to have their issue. I suggest they send one to the pinch point so that they can pick up, because they may well get caught out amongst the riders, as it's only just over, I should say, 2 meters wide when they get to it. Sorry to go on about it, but believe me, it is going to have a massive impact today. 38 to go, flat, and the speed is up.
Yeah, the speed is really up because these two at the front, Patrick Grech, the German rider from Argos Shimano, and Pirazzi from the Bardiani team were pushing on themselves, but they're almost about to be caught by this peloton, and that's not necessarily because they want to catch this duo that are out in front, but just because they're constantly swarming around at the front trying to get the right position for their GC leaders and their people with a chance of a stage win. 9k descent pretty much comes to the bottom at around about 29 kilometres to go. It starts to drag up. There's a couple of little ups and downs after that, but the majority of the descent will be done by the 29k to go marker.
Here they go. We're still not sure because we've got to those pictures quite late, and it is a full-on charge at the moment on the downhill, and this looks like one of the Colombia riders who's actually gone for it. Is it Duarte? I'd love it to be. We'll see. 33.9 to go for the men out front. We still watch this race to try and get back on, and Yoli's there, but more importantly, Vincenzo Nibali still also scrapping to do it.
This is Nibali on your screen. No, I was wrong, sorry. This is Nibali on your screens now. That was Agnoli. I thought he was still back with the Astana team car. It's incredible to watch this guy. I'm sure his teammate is going to have a lot of trouble keeping out of him now. He's won races in the past due to his descending skills. Absolutely no fear. There was no way I used to go down hills like that in the wet. Might have been had a chance of keeping out of him in the dry, but not when the roads are greasy like this.
Do you know what his real talent is knowing exactly how far he can lean the bike while still pedaling. Others kind of raise the inside pedal on a corner, and he just drives it through. He knows millimetrically when he can deliver the power, so he often rides into a corner and out of one faster. He gets that power down quicker than anybody else. And as Dan was saying, absolutely no fear. So in terms of delivery, he can. And if he's going to relay back on a downhill, is exactly where he can do it.
Yeah, only a few Ks to go till the end of this downhill though. The thing he's got to watch out for is if there are any splits in the bunch, which is why he's panicking so much to get back on, because if the pressure of the riders at the front, the likes of Duque, the former Cofidis rider who's off the front now, it might be that the corners just create some gaps in the bunch, and then of course he's going to have to try and close them with his teammates, and that's energy that you just don't want to use unless you absolutely have to. So that's why he's making such a big effort to get back on now. Of course he's already back on the back of the peloton, and he needs to get back towards the front.
So Duque on a mission, and he can descend. Look at him go. Well, I suspected that somebody from Colombia would have a go today. Now he's doing it. He's also extremely used to training on his own in the mountains, and pack weights himself as well, apparently. Chucks that off. He's sprightly at the moment, and this looks like a determined effort. Well, off the back of this, now we keep on saying this, but please, it is important. 23 kilometres to go, and that's going to be coming at these speeds very, very soon. He's going to have a free run through if he's on his own, which is great. There's the pink jersey.
Yeah, the pink jersey just being led through by one of the Movistar riders. Yeah, just a change of the back wheel there. Nibali obviously saying to Agnelli, pull over, I need your wheel, because it's so strung out at those points. The team car can be a long way back. I think they're team car number 3 or 4, so they would have been one of the first ones to the scene, as it were. But it was still quicker for him to do that than it was to wait for the team car. So good job, Agnelli. Probably could have done with one of their other riders doing that job, because Agnelli is going to be one of the main guys for this last second category climb of the day, or at least he was. He might still be if he gets back on, but could have been done with one of the non-climbers giving him that wheel rather than one of the climbers.
Looks like Ventosa's here, but this is Duque, and yes, he's a pretty handy descender as well by the looks of things. Nice and compact. And he could well skip up here. Colombia, it is a pretty verdant country as well, not that far from the tropics, as you know. So yeah, it may well be that he's kind of used to these kind of roads as well. Who knows? 30 to go, sails through that marker, and he's into dry roads at the moment. It's still raining at the finish, incidentally, so it is showers then, that suggests, because we had heavy rain here and rain solidly on the course. It looks like they're riding into a drier section. Oh, and as he says it, all of a sudden we have a sprinkling here, although the road does look still rather dry, which we must be grateful for. 29.6 to go, and yes, fight your way into these corners and indeed out of them. A little bit of a shimmy as Sella at the back here just reconnects himself, or corrects himself. There you are. Come on then, I'll have a bit of help and I'll maybe have another go later.
Well, he's just given up now, Duque, but what he has done is sparked some more action from the bunch. One of the Lotto Belisol riders going on the attack, trying to gain a little bit of an advantage before they hit the climb proper. They've just reached the bottom or the foot of the descent, according to my calculations now. It's pretty flat, or it goes up and down a little bit until the 25, 24 Ks to go mark, which is when the real action is going to start. It's like Patrick Brecht again to me.
Can't help himself, just keeps pinging off by the looks of things. There you go. I think it is Brecht. It's not Yi Cheng, I know that much, but yeah.
Oh, he's Nibali still trying to make, or is that Agnelli? I'm getting mixed up between the two of them. I think that's Agnelli.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Still they roll and wrestle with the terrain today.
His day could be over. He's having to make a big effort to get back on, and he might not see too much more of Agnelli before the end of the day.
Too hard, he says, and shakes his head. Just picked up on the camera. Looks back over his shoulder, presumably looking to see where any kind of assistance might be.
Now, this is the problem, you see. This is what I was talking about a little bit earlier on. Just that groups get split off the back due to the pressure down the descent. You can see them all over the place at the moment. Yeah. Let's hope that Nibali is ahead of one of those groups, because otherwise he's got a lot of work to do before he gets back towards the front. He will make it, but how much energy will he have used? 2 men up the road, and the pack just mustering, as we can see. One of those men, we believe, we'll have a look in a moment, is Gretsch. There he is, Christensen, in fact. Beg your pardon, it is Gretsch. And there is a lot of Belisol road. It is Freddie Willems. Yeah,
Now these guys can pace themselves. They're used to this sort of thing. They're not averse to a bit of Kermis racing as well, especially Freddie Willems. So we'll see whether they manage to deliver that kind of mentality here today. Patrick Gretsch, of course, German, but has rode in some sort of rather punchy day prize races, as a lot of these guys are, particularly from the Low Countries though. So yeah, it's kind of reboot yourself and go for it right now with 27.3 to go. In around about
rider in the bunch, along with Hondo, who's just a few days younger.
well, he's up there, showing it that he can do it for the old guys. Sant'Ambrogio, I think, is with him for Vini Fantini, and still they rock and roll with the punches here. 21.7 to go, pace absolutely collapsing. Thankfully they were quite quick into that narrow pinch point, although the attacks went off the front very, very quickly at that point, and even more riders started to join what might be a quality group up front, and then there's going to have to be some calculations. We're looking at the front of the race right now. This is one of the sub-ramps that we're dealing with as it comes back down and into town for the TV. Is this the first of them? I think they go up and then down again into town for that GPM.
No, they've got this is just the descent into town now, where we see that intermediate sprint. About 2 k's from now, they hit that point. It's a winding road, nothing too technical, good surface all the way in, but once they get into town, it is particularly twisty and turning. Go over a small bridge, and from that point it ramps up and the surface gets worse. Some blocked paving, and that's where the intermediate sprint is. It looks very likely to me that it's one of these riders that's going to take that intermediate sprint. Not much organisation behind in the peloton, and with this descent leading up to it, not much probably going to change unless there's a lot of fighting for position in the peloton for the start of the climb proper.
Yeah, sorry if I can cause confusion there by calling it a GPM. I meant the TV, as it's known here, the sprint, the intermediate sprint into the town of Soriano Calabro, and then we start our final climb today. Yes, this is looking tasty and testy. 20.5 to go. They'll be at that sprint point, but it's about the distance that they've got between themselves and this group, and somebody hitting off. It's not Caruso, is it, for Cannondale? We'll have a look in a moment, but yeah, could do with some time, especially after their time trial. They're gathering themselves, I think you might say, as we come into town. Now, we said it looks dry here, by the way.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, which is very good, because it's a nasty, nasty surface that they've got to deal with had it been wet. The camera giving you clear vision pictures, and I've got to tell you, it stopped raining at the finish line as well, which means that the 800 metres to go roundabout isn't going to be too bad either. In they come, down on this little section. Still got about 700 metres to go before they turn into the market square and then out of town and back up. There's the pink leader's jersey, also rolling in onto a nicely laid new piece of tarmac. Incidentally, somebody had been out last night with a paint brush and had put all kinds of words that the organisers didn't like. It's Rabottini, incidentally, for Vini Fantini here.
Oh, last year's King of the Mountains winner and stage winner on Pian di Resinelli. Good to see a bit of him, Rabottini. I was expecting to see him going up the road on one of these stages, and that's exactly what he's done today. We thought they were setting up for Sant'Ambrogio, might well still be doing that, but given a bit of representation in this earlier breakaway.
And why not? And it is Quintero, incidentally, for Colombia, who's also sped off and joined this little grouping right now. Marco Mercato for Vacansoleil. Here we are. This is that group now for you.
Yeah, good little group, this.
It is nice. It might well have some success, you know. Powerful. See if they do it. 19 kilometres to go, just less than that now, as we hook back and see the main contenders sort of grouped together, and Cadell Evans with his golden shoes bouncing away nicely on the inside of the road, not afraid to take the more focused route through the hairpin. Well, it looks like they're clean and out. I think have they already been over? They're
not quite, well, they might have been.
Might have just cut away from it. Yes, we'll see. I think they're on the escape out of town right now. We'll see in just a few moments' time. Front of the race then,
Sylvain Georges, the other rider from AG2R, who, well, you might have mentioned, I wasn't looking down at my notes. So this strong group of 5 out of sight through these curves of the peloton behind, being led by one rider from Katusha, who's just ahead of Paolini in that pink jersey. His teammate. We've got Sella here at the back from Androni. He was in the early breakaway. Strong little group. It all depends on who's willing to work from behind now. I mean, the best rider on the classification up front here, as far as I can tell, is Pirazzi. He's only 2 minutes and 45 down, so I'm very unlikely they're going to get that far up the road. Is Piccato going for that intermediate sprint?
Yep, not quite there. Pantani still fondly remembered in this part of the world, of course. We are in Calabria, incidentally. Here's the paving. There we are, that we were talking about, that was such a concern had it been wet, because they'll make a turn in just a few moments' time. That's the sprint, the intermediate sprint. They'll turn out and start the climb proper almost immediately. There we go. Well, good man. Did what he needed to at that point, and it is a quality little group that we've got right now as we get onto the final climb of the day.
Yeah, this is the 12-kilometre section of climb, already a couple of Ks probably, or at least a kilometre up that now. The maximum gradient 10% comes in around about 4 or 5 kilometres time. Very, very twisty here at the start. Great surface for a majority of it. Looks like they've been through and resurfaced it before the race came through, but certainly a lot of hairpins right and left all the way up this first section of climb. It does, after that 10% section, flatten off significantly, much faster coming up towards the top of the climb, and unlike yesterday where you see the GPM, that really is the top. They start descending down immediately from there.
20 seconds is what they've got. That might be significant, because as we come off the nose of the climb, we've still got 7 kilometres to go, so they'll hit the top in 10. And if they've got anything about them, they might well be able to deliver something today. We'll see.
And if the pace continues like this over the next 3 or 4 Ks, there's going to be a big group coming in towards the finish, I think, because as I said, the last part of the climb is not hard at all. It only kind of goes up at 3-4% for the majority of the second half of the climb. So as I said, if no team comes to the front and sets an enormous pace, we could see a much larger group coming into the finish than we were expecting.
Absolutely. Sylvain Georges is making a jolly good fist of this, frankly. Struggling a little bit further back. Yes, if you want to see struggles, you're going to see plenty of that today. And Reyes is.
Here comes those hairpins I was talking about a few moments ago. Very quick succession now, but they're finished in around about a kilometre's time. And it's not long after the hairpins, or it's actually on one of the last hairpins, where we get the steepest section of this climb. Still only 10%, and as I said, it just gradient eases slightly after that. And Sylvain Georges not doing a bad ride to go away from the other riders that were in that breakaway. It was a strong little group, always a little bit doomed, coming so close to the bottom of the climb. It just didn't have that big a gap. Although on our screen it's saying 1 minute and 17 seconds, which to me would be a bit of a surprise, but maybe they have eased up more than I was even saying.
Well, if they have, they'd better take great care. Rabatini up there. Rabatini is at only 8 minutes and 50 down. No, they're on a bit of a charge here, but so is Sylvain Georges up front. We'll see if he manages.
Yes. In that peloton at the moment, which is still being led by the Katusha team. Having said at the start of the programme that I thought it was a little bit too hard for Paolini, I'm starting to rethink what I said now, because with the pace at the moment not being too harsh, he's got a great chance of staying in there and keeping that jersey until the finish. Might just be one of those things where these GC teams are waiting for other stages later in the week, don't want to sense a high pace and use up all their energy for nothing. And we saw a lot of attacks yesterday, and in effect a lot of the favourites ended up coming into the finish together anyway, so that's playing in the hands of Katusha at the moment.
so much George just asking for data, I think. How's it going? Well, it's down to 45 seconds now to the pink jersey group. That looks like it's still a little bit. Oh, hello, thumbs up, yeah. I'm okay, but not that okay, says Finotti. Still going. Not quite sure what the demand was. It says 43 seconds. That's they wouldn't have made that much of a time change as he passes underneath the 15-kilometre mark. So a little bit of time relay issue as we speak.
Yeah, more and more right.
Spotted any quick men that might come to the fore on this running?
Visconti's there. I mean, first and foremost, he's going to be looking at the mountains points, but he will then start to think about the stage as well. If he's still about, notice that is still there. Tiago Mercado could be an outsider, the Portuguese rider from Team Radio Shack. He's got a little bit of burst on him if it comes towards a slightly bigger bunch. I'm just wondering whether Team Sky's tactic is to whistle it down just so there's not so much jostling for position coming in towards the line here. Might have probably known Team Sky. I expect they've got somebody going ahead giving them information for what the finish is like, and if you have got 50, 60 riders coming into it, which looks like we've got that many left at the moment, it might be a bit more hectic. Ventoso has made it back on. I don't think he was going to make it towards the finish today, but climbing very, very well, the Spanish champion there, the Movistar rider in the centre of your screens. Well, if you have spotted any quick man, that's the one that I've spotted. If he manages to keep going, then he should be odds on for the win in my book.
Yeah, well, he's rolled with the punches. Maybe it was a target today, which is why he was so animated getting back on. Well, if Ventoso does do it, the Spanish champion, and just manages to rest up here for maybe a couple of kilometres. As we said, they haven't actually peaked yet, but to be honest, it's not that testy, this climb from now on. There was that 10% ramp. Sitsu doing the run at the front right now. Sylvain Georges still alone up front. He's sort of holding station around about 24 seconds. Well, there it is, sorry, just popped up. We were getting data before you saw it, but yes, just a little bit less than that. Oh gosh, it is green countryside. You can see why with all the rain. And there is Ventoso. He is here now. If he can rest up a little bit, maybe the next 6 or 7 kilometres, then he's going to be in a happy place for the run in. Just seeing who is here amongst the other quick men that might. We'll see if it's Duarte. 10 to go under the banner.
Yeah.
Goes Georges. Well, he was within sight. He's waiting up. He's not waiting up. He's being caught. The peloton were in sight of him round one of the turns a few moments ago. He's going to get eaten up here, and De Luca's going to sail by him. This will be a famous Italian victory, and a hugely popular one as well if he brings this one home. George just beds in behind him, and the Colombia rider as well is also here. Haven't got an ID just for the time being. Sky not that far in arrears. Still 9.7 to go. He's got belief.
Yeah, we've got 3 points, well, almost exactly 3 kilometres now until they reach the crest of this climb. It's still Sky behind doing the chasing, or at least the tempo setting, but I don't think we've seen the last of the attacks from that group. There's a few riders in there that won't be happy with letting this stage slip away, and they're also capable of making an acceleration. Ventoso, who's struggled so valiantly to try and keep in this group all the way up, is now starting to feel the pace, which has probably increased since De Luca attacked, but he's done really well just to stay in this group of, 50 or so riders.
He has. Here we go. You can see the rain being kicked up here by the motorcyclists, just a little bit too close to these riders who haven't got their eye protectors, their sunglasses on because of the grizzly conditions. Quick check over shoulders, and a little bit of cat and mouse going on, and George has been dropped by this pairing, so they've got to work together. De Luca and our friend from Colombia still haven't got an ID on it for you. Have got it now, and it is Chalapud. Now Chalapud, well, he's the latest. We've seen Duarte, we've seen Duque, we've seen Quintero. I knew that Colombia would be lively today. I was asking Dan if he'd let me pick out an entire team because I didn't know who it would be, because they're all sort of equal giants, I think you might say. They go past the 9 kilometre to go banner, just beating the graphic ever so slightly, and Sylvain Georges has had enough. He's going for the winter warmer, and he's going to need it. Goodness me. Well, it was good for him and good for AG2 La Mondiale to get the sponsor's name up there, but he's on a drift back right now.
Is that him?
Yeah, it is.
Quick drift back.
It is.
Oh no, that's Ventoso. It looked like Koba coming through the clouds. It's Ventoso. So yeah, a very quick drift back through the remainder of the peloton, and going somewhat slower than these guys up front. De Luca really pushing on the pedals now. Wasn't sure what his form was like. I had him down yesterday as one of the stages he would have been looking out for. Good descender, good little punchy rider coming in towards the finish. Not dissimilar to Paolini in some ways, although he has shown more credentials overall in 3-week races before. Gap reasonably big now. There is another rider coming off the front. Couldn't quite see what team that was. Just a couple of Ks now to go before they hit the top of this climb, which comes at 6.7 kilometres before the finish.
Now,
downhill for a little while. As I said, they take a little slip road off to the right for a couple of 90-degree turns, leading in towards 2.5 kilometres to go. De Luca just tapping his breakaway companion on the back, saying, come on, let's keep this going. 6.7 kilometres to go. It still hangs in the balance here. I wouldn't be surprised to see them caught. I also wouldn't be surprised to see them stay away to the finish.
Yes, I'm just looking into the cloud here. I'm just wondering whether De Luca will just go ahead and steal this one today. 2 minutes and 15 years, and look at him. Well, there you go. If you're not going to help, my friend, I'll do it myself. And off he goes. Quick toot on the old bottle. All he has to do is open his mouth. Frankly, there's enough moisture in the air to keep everybody hydrated. And he is going for it. He's going to use the TV motorcycle camera as well. Swings by. Shalaput decides to have some of that as well. And the camera's not helping him. Over the other side of the road he goes, and yes, once again this pairing together, and look at them mobbed across the road. One of his teammates is there, not quite sure still who it is, and
looks fast, doesn't it?
Oh, it's very quick. It's going to be pacey in. There we go. Giovanni Visconti it was that took the 3 points.
Yep, so he'll go into the lead in the mountains competition again at the end of today, retaking the jersey that he held after the very first day of this year's race. But all happening here out front. Now De Luca, as you said, just slipstreaming the television motorbike for a bit there. Looks like maybe he was going to try and go for a solo effort. A little bit further on here before they take this right-hand turn onto a slip road where the road narrows just slightly again. I'd be interested to know who is doing the chasing behind, if anybody. It certainly did look fast, but that might have just been the after effects of a twisty downhill to this big road.
Yeah, there's sort of a little ramp down to it. It's a slight little kick up right now as they've come down into the dip of the saucer and back up to its lip, if that makes sense, before they head into town. 4 points. Absolutely, sorry about that, but the weather has at least hampered the bird here above us. Daniel De Luca, though, is on a mission, and he means it. He's got a passenger. I'm not sure. It looks like he's rocking and rolling ever so slightly. Dupont towards the rear here, and well, others who've been in helping mode, helping out. Red flag being held up here almost as a red rag to a bull, and there's a whole stampede of them going on behind these guys, and I think they might well get caught. How much De Luca's got left in his legs after his effort on the climb is anybody's guess. They sail in on one of the right-handers. Now it's a left-hander into town with 800 meters to go. Slightly lesser. They're off the highway now, so it's a sort of a national road they're onto, but it does get a little bit narrower into town. De Luca just checks up because he sees rainwater gullying on the inside of the road. There's a lot of water that, as you can see, just crossing us into stripes across the road. They're going to have to stay safe. 2 to go. I've changed my mind. I think De Luca might just bring this one in. The chaser's not that far behind. The foreshortening of the camera lens masking that up. If he can get 1 more kilometre under his belt, he might have something here. The Columbia rider who is with him, Shalaput, checks over. He's been a bit of a passenger. De Luca kind of knows that.
Oh, they're
mobbing. Look
now.
at this. They've found them out, I think. Goodness me, the charge is on from those behind. Who's it going to be? The pink jersey's like right there.
AG2R are the ones doing the chasing on the front. It's yeah, Paolini's. Who's that?
Not quite sure. Let's get back up front. Paolini is there. It might well suit him. He might get a double stager. Who knows? Head and heart. Anybody's guess. That is Salerno. But back at the business end, we're running out of road here. 1.4 to go.
Yeah, this is where the road narrows again. It's still going to be really touch and go for these riders. How much of this AG2R rider got left? Paolini has got a rider left with him, just behind him. If he just got on the front, then he'd have another good chance at a stage victory. Pelazzotti from Androni is also there in the Italian national champions kit. Needs another injection of pace though if they're going to catch these two that are at the front.
And suddenly Chalaput has a bit of belief as they go under the Flamme Rouge here. AG2 are trying to join in. The camera gets himself into trouble. Paolini's still there. That's a great position for him to be in. He's got a teammate, and Paolini's now going to be led out with 800 metres to go. Now this is the double right-hander. Luca comes through. The crowd see him and they go absolutely nuts. Now he's on the skittery surface, and they're on a charge right now. Who's got the guts? Who's got the verve? And who's got the delivery? DeLuca hurling for home. Can he possibly do it? Springing into his step, you might think. Absolutely not. He's being charged down. I think he's going to get caught. I think it might be a double for the big jersey here.
Just about to get caught. It is a long drag, only 1 or 2%, but after such a long stage, 6 hours 13 in the saddle, who's got the most energy left? It's not going to be DeLuca. Somebody's going to come around now before the finish. Who is going to be?
I think he's going to pick this one up over at the other side of the road. Oh, open mouth he goes. Oh, it's all eyeballs out for the line of Bardiani. They sent their storm out early. Oh, here comes the line. 25 to go. Less than that right now. The line beckoning. What a superb win that is! What a run! Superb Battaglin does it for Baldiani Balvoli right at the very last. Enrico Battaglin batters everybody today. Emotions running high here. It's gone to Italy. Oh my goodness, they're keeping it at home this year and they're bossing proceedings. Oh, well, I'll tell you something, Bardiani Valvoli had a superb run today. We wondered who they were thinking about, and so it proved at the end. My Lord, Daniel Lloyd is head off to go and speak to the winner. What a race, what a stage, every day a joy. Goodness me, we're out of breath. That was absolutely superb. I did not know until the very last whether DeLuca would make it. And here's your final run in. Now, most of the main contenders actually featuring within this group here, but all credit to Bardiani Valvoli, and indeed to our day's winner, and there he is. And we'll have to rest up and wait. And Rito Battaglin, a winner of stage 4. Well, they're keeping it at home in terms of the geography, and indeed stage wins. Mark Cavendish did, of course, a great job in the opening stage, but yesterday, yes, we were delighted that Paolini had got it. So were the Italian press. 8 pages featured on him, and Battaglin gets it ahead of Fellini. 1, 2 and 3 Visconti, making it a real mob out for the Italians today, who ran the first of the Skyriders. And Cadell again, doing a proper job for Australia and for BMC. Fabulous to see. It's just trailing in behind Giennison. What a day. Well, in the end, Enrico Battaglin had a margin, didn't he? 3 riders from Italy filling the day's podium. Average speed today, 39.431 kilometers per hour. Oh dear, out of breath. And I'm sure you are at home too, getting most of a lungful, screaming his joy. Enrico Battaglin of Bardiani Valvoli. Stage 5, let's have a look what they're dealing with, shall we? Down the coast, hooking inland. It's quite a benign course, but I've got to tell you, we've just had a thunderstorm roll over yet again. It's April showers coming a little bit late, I think you might say. So it's a little bit damp at the finish line. Very, very warm out there, and there's a real kick at the back. We've already had an escape group, and points have been hoovered up by Perazzi, and we've got 5 other riders up the road at the moment. With destination Matera today, 203 kilometres, always on paper they said it was one for the sprinters, but I can tell you Daniel Lloyd rode the last 50 k's today, and it is tough at the end. It's also beautiful round here. Matera, ancient city, up on the hill. We'll be finishing a little bit further down it. but it is absolutely glorious once again. Italy shows its very best for the Giro d'Italia. It is the tour of the great country after all. Rolling plains leading us to the hills, some of which are fortified, as you can see. So a lovely destination today, but those rolling hills will take a toll. Will the fast men be on hand by the end? Yes, maybe indeed it will be one for a former mountain biker. Watch out for Hajidal. And of course Cadel Evans, who's rolling very, very well at the moment. So here we are in Matera. We're a little bit further down the hill from the glorious ancient city, and as you can see, the architects kind of based the modernist area on, well, blocks of Lego. But anyway, it's the road that we're concerned about. Temperature 21 Celsius, cloudy with a possibility of rain, a certainty of rain now, because we've had some real globules of the heavy stuff falling out of the clouds, just to sort of keep that tropical feel going. It is warm, however. Whether that will be an advantage or not remains to be seen. Cosenza, our roll out today. Yes, hardly a party atmosphere when it comes to Sky. I think Bradley Wiggins feeling just a little bit aggrieved that he wasn't given any time back, but he appeared to be too far back at the 3K mark, as you saw, as the tax went off and the likes of De Luca went for it. In the blue jersey today is Visconti. Don't forget, Paolini is the man in red. Looked like he was, it was a heavy burden for him yesterday. Didn't look overly chipper, I must say. But the Italians certainly had their day yesterday, Dan Lloyd, and Forza Nibali, they're believing.
Yeah, they had their day yesterday, they had their day the day before as well with Luca Paolini, and before that, Puccio going into the leader's pink jersey after Sky won the team time trial. The Italians and the Gazzetta dello Sport paper in particular have got a lot to shout about at the moment. They're very pleased also with the fact that some of the riders that have had success, not this man on your screen now, are very young. He's 36 years old, Luca Paolini, but Battaglin yesterday, Puccio, the wearer of the jersey, the previous day, are both very young, and along with Moreno Moser, who isn't here, they feel that the future is bright for Italian cycling.
So Paolini can only wear one jersey, and as a result, despite the fact he leads the points classification, it's Cadel Evans who's had some fantastic finishes of late that will be nursing that jersey. So quite a few skirmishes early on, got to tell you. And Vini Fantini yet again represented. Got to tell you also that Pirazzi was on a bit of a mission out there to pick up GPM points for Bardiani Valvoli. He was joined by Androni Giacottoli, Gil Martinez, the Venezuelan who went reasonably well in the Tour of Langkawi of late. Bardiani really have ridden beyond themselves, and with a stage win yesterday, it's kind of coming true, their dreams of success here. Cannondale's Maragnoni also up the road along with Riccardo Mestre. Bulgac from Lotto Belisol, as you saw, kind of animated the start, and Rafael Adriano from Vini Fantini. And it meant that the rest of the pack were able to just take it a little bit. Goodness gracious me. So here we go. Finally, we're on this climb. We believe that it's more important to be on the front for the second climb of today, albeit with some intermediate ramps, so don't get yourselves too confused. But it's the descent off this which will, of course, introduce you to that second climb. And clearly, they are in the belief that this is vital to get into a good position. Just passing what looks like a science department.
1 minute 41 now, so I'm just glancing down, looking, trying to see exactly how windy this descent is from the top of the climb. They're not quite on it yet, I don't think. 54 is what I've got marched down as the first initial part of the climb. Yeah, 1 minute 40, that's come down very, very quickly. They're going to get caught by the top of this one, if not. Expect to see Giovanni Visconti coming up towards the front, trying to nip some points in on the top of this third category climb if they do get caught back.
Dan, this is about the descent, which leads into that pinch point. So maybe they've listened loud and hard to the warnings. And yes, This is going to prove to be very, very important. The hairpin descents, by the way, which are a characteristic of the roads in this part of the world, we're just waiting to see for it to reveal itself. We don't have a map, and it was part of the course that we didn't manage to get to today, although we did spend a good couple of hours analysing other parts of it. This has to be the moment where they believe that they're going to rise over the top, go down the descent, and then hit that roadwork section, that hugely difficult pinch, which will introduce the final climb. And anyone with any ambition is already up here. It's not just about staying safe. Nibali supporters punching the air. They're waiting for them in town. Meanwhile, not waiting any longer on, as they pass the science students with their white coats and their red hats. The charge is on, and Francis de Jure, well, pick up some crumbs. Why not? Also joining the party, but look how widely spread Vini Fantini are. They're determined not to cede this position. That's how important they believe this to be, Dan.
Well, it's kind of almost you're right if you're the ones that have done the chasing, that you get to keep your position at the front. In fact, it can be very annoying if you are the team chasing, you still get barged from side to side and lose your position from others that are coming around you that aren't actually aiding the chase on the front. I speculated whether it's Faili who was on the front for Vini Fantini a little while ago. I don't think it is, because he's not in the race, unless he's made a kind of quick appearance. It's 6 riders from Vini Fantini on the front. I think they must be working for Sant'Ambrogio. Yesterday I talked about the possibility of Gatto getting over that climb and maybe being in with a chance at the win. You can see it narrows down for this road here now. Gatto a long way back in the end yesterday. I can only presume that he's not on such good form as he was earlier on in the year when he won the Dorsdorf-Landeren race. I'd had him down as a potential, as I said. Probably, and I expect you'll be very pleased still that it's for your man Sant'Ambrogio.
Yes, well, you know what? I did say, can I pick a whole team? Because I think it sounds like a day that Colombia might do something, and they've come towards the front right now.
Here we go then.
Aha! Now then, yes, light in terms of what he's carrying at the moment, but he's going for this, and did you see that? He's wobbling all over the place with a rack full of bottles, trying to keep up. The 24-year-old Minguez has just been loaded up by his team to drift back into the peloton, and he's having to attack now. He's gone on a counter-attack, and he's bouncing all over the place. He's looking like somebody from Weight Watchers, never mind a pro cyclist. There he is. And the poor man, he's going to start chucking him out. Yeah, there goes one. There'll be more to come in a moment, because he believes this now. He's got the biggest camelback I've ever seen on somebody going at this pace right now. He's having to work hard. Well, we said it might happen, and it's come true. There are various different eye guards that you can wear on a day such as today. Some of them deliberately designed to sheet effectively water. Now they really are wrapping up here. I suspect that they're going into it. That's Garzelli with the bright yellow livery Cipollini bike there. Looks like a wasp now in black and yellow. I often wondered why they didn't do more of that, and this is the reason why. The men in the escape are just hitting what has hit us at the finish line. Fingers crossed for everybody, because we've had some lightning strikes, 5 of them around our commentary position, and thankfully we're still in one piece. There's probably some people out there saying, more's the pity. Glass half full or half empty. It's overflowing, I've got to tell you, at the finish line today, and these guys just running into the bad stuff by the looks of things. 76.7 kilometres to go. When, Dan, are they going to start hitting the climb, and it's getting serious today?
Still away from where they are at the moment, so they've got about 50 kilometres until they get to the right turn, which leads into that climb. 53 kilometres until they actually start it. Well,
if the rainstorm was a bounce, it's we've got the glider airborne, thank goodness, and we're just hoping that the electric storm does not come back, because we're even short of power. Everyone just offering us a plug and saying, can we plug into yours, because you've got some. Well, we'll let them, but obviously they'll have to buy us beers afterwards. Helicopters up as well, and doing a brave job. The charge is on. Now Blanco started to show themselves towards the front as well. Who are they thinking about today?
Just keeping Gesink out of trouble, I think, and they haven't got really a sprint of any note in his group, unless they think perhaps Chalengi might do something. But it's been a long time since he's taken his own chance in the race. Remember, all the way back in 2006, I think it was, he was winner overall of Tour of Belgium. He was riding for what was Skill Shimano then, what is Argos Shimano now, and really trumped all of Belgium, including Tom Bonin. Went away one day, group of 12 very strong riders chasing behind, and he held his gap all the way until the finish. Superbly strong rider, but nowadays spends more time helping others.
Cadel Evans, there's always been there's been a lot of questions about surrounding Cadel. Constantly he gets asked, is this your final year? Is this your final year? And he just carries on because he is super fit. He's one of the best, let's say, policemen of his own fitness that you have out there. He really is quite a remarkable character. Famously sort of had his own chefs on various occasions, just very concerned about what's going into the temple that is the Evans body, and delivering beautifully. And he's delivering here as well, let's not forget. He's into the top 10 after what was a disappointing team time trial for BMC. And so if you ever need a man who's just going to rescue you, bring in the lifeboat, it's Cadel. Great to see him functioning so beautifully. There have been some surprises so far. I think yesterday's stage winner was a surprise to many, although perhaps not to himself. And when you do look back at what he's been up to over the last year or so, then maybe we didn't give him due respect, Better Glyn. But then again, it's an extraordinarily high quality field, and you can get winners from just about anywhere, and possibly on a day like today. 5 men up the road then, and so far they've ridden through a shower and have coped with it. No rain jackets for them. Still on a march and doing a job, but I think they're possibly ultimately doomed. If you're wanting a time gap, well, the last time we got it was over 6 minutes at the intermediate sprint, and we're having to rely on that right now because we've got no relay times, unfortunately, as on a Shimano. Cheng Ji, incidentally, the first of the Chinese riders, the only Chinese rider here, but I suspect we're going to be seeing an awful lot more Chinese riders coming through. They have a proper development program, don't seem to be short of funds, and I've got to say that they may well transfer their track skills, which are considerable, particularly in women's cycling, incidentally, but the men coming good as well. It may well be that you're going to see a whole raft of talent coming over from China. Then again, there's been warnings of that, and the Chinese wave in various different forms of sport. But yes, it'll be more gradual, I think, than people think. But it started. It's good to see Cheng Ji here. He's been a feature, hasn't he, most of the time?
Yeah, he did a good job on the first day, and he's doing a good job again now. We can see a few teams starting to get nervous. I think there's probably a little bit of crosswind from the left-hand side of the riders, the right-hand side of your screen, just at this point in time. They should just about be making this turn to the left very shortly, but I think it might be a slip road that kind of goes round and underneath itself. We should be doing that very shortly. Incidentally, Omega Pharma Quick, so you can see Mark Cavendish just about on the left-hand side of the road there. They're no longer working on the front, but Movistar are. Oh, here's that turn. They do go around and underneath. Movistar are working on the front, and that might be why Quickstep have decided to take a back seat, because we saw Ventoso yesterday, the Spanish champion, so he's got slightly different colours, the Spanish flag on his back in that Movistar kit. He was climbing very well. In fact, he only got dropped towards the top of yesterday's climb, so their plan might be to ride fairly hard, not super hard, but hard enough that he can keep up. But other sprinters maybe get dropped on these climbs, and that might be why Omega Pharma Quick said, well, we're going to save all our energy to try and protect Mark Cavendish as much as possible, if that's what your plan is.
Yeah, Ventoso probably a good call as well. He's had some ill fortune so far in this Giro d'Italia. He's stopped a number of times for mechanicals and punctures. So yeah, if he can string it together, it's like his team did in the team time trial. That was really out of the box, but I've seen him go well previously. Vini Fantini also had a superb time trial. In terms of finishing an awful lot higher up than many people expected, although we did say on that course that there was going to be some surprises, and there turned out to be. It was so rolling and undulating, virtually no flat, and wouldn't allow anyone to set a tempo. That's precisely what the peloton are doing at the moment. It's almost time trialling their way home. Yeah,
Christian Clay still the guy on the right hand side of your screen from Team Sky. Not even in an aerodynamic position. He's got his body upright so that he gives the riders behind even more protection from the wind. And you can see the guy on the front struggling. As I said, they're taking turns. These 5 riders in fact taking turns. We've got 2 from Argos Shimano. We've got Christian Meyer on the front right now from the Australian Orica Greenhouse team. Capecchi, who's incidentally said it's going to be his last Giro d'Italia, despite being an Italian. He really suffers from allergies, and that's been the same so far this year. But 5 of them sharing turns on the front. The big German, Christian Claes, doing it all on his own, just to the side.
Yeah, we talked about allergies. Basically, they're talking about hay fever. It's birch pollen which starts it all off. And then as this comes, as those, well, when you're riding around here, you can smell the wisteria, you can smell the jasmine, the lemon blossom. It's a really heady perfume, but it really doesn't help, because it's if you are at the top end of the allergy spectrum, because it kind of announces spring, and indeed the grass formation of flowering heads. And yeah, it can be a nightmare if you suffer in that way. And yeah, it's a real shame, because it I say that very guardedly, because as you can see, there's very ominous grey clouds knocking around, and there's still 22.1 kilometres to go. It's sort of a looping stage, incidentally, from now on, as they loop back into oh, hello.
Wiggins making it look very easy, spinning up the right-hand side of the bunch in the saddle. Absolutely no problems whatsoever.
There you go. There's a heartbreaker for everyone else around you. And Nibali just joins the fun and drifts on in. And in fact, they're all keeping it very much amongst the big names here, as Scarponi also rides on for Lampre Merida, very close at hand. And we're seeing the great and the good right now. There they are, all the ones we've just mentioned, all together. And there's Brad. Well, if he is carrying any kind of burden from yesterday, let the feet do the talking, or the wheels. Yes, time to deliver. Tom Downson's getting himself into a good position. He's doing proper work, and he and Ryder Heishdal are there. At the front, Robbie Hunter's just dropped off that little nose of teammates.
A big group getting dropped out the back, being led here by Sabatini, as you can see on the graphics there. Stegman's on his way out, dropping like a stone, in fact, on the far side of your screens.
Yeah, mechanical issue for him on stage 1, incidentally.
Already hit this roundabout. This just flattens off now, and it's a big group here still. And the only really steep bit to come is 200 metres to go before the finish. They're only about a K from the top now, so there must still be a fair few sprinters, I would say, hanging on in this group.
Oh dear, the public just getting in the way. We've got some walkers within the riders. Come on, off the road. They're usually very, very well marshalled, to be honest, and appreciative. But I think he's going to have somebody from Vini Fantini tell him to get lost, and it is quite right. Daniel De Luca, actually, issuing the oath. But that spectator was actually within the peloton there, and that's not great. Lassos Garcia. Well, it's going to take prisoners today, we know. And yeah, expect some also rounds.
Gazzelli, that's a surprise to see him drop. Former winner of this race overall, even on bad form, you would, and Kesikov too.
Yeah, 39 years of age, Gazzelli now. I think he's the old man of this year's. But yeah, found out just a little bit. Oh, goodness me. Ventoso looks good, but this does not look a happy moment for Lastras Garcia. What's up?
Well, I think he's just done his turn. He was the rider on the front right from the bottom of the climb, so he's done his job for the day. Ventoso's made his way right up towards the front of the bunch. Is that Pirazzi just going for the remaining points? Sure to see Visconti coming after him, because Visconti's leading the competition. Pirazzi's got 10 points, which is 3 behind Visconti. 5 available, then 3, 2, 1 for the first 4 riders over the line. It's well, not too far away now.
I like Pirazzi. He does this a lot. He thinks about jerseys, and he times his runs beautifully. He may not be a great feature on the list towards the end as the GC, but he animates a day, and he's doing that exactly now.
There's Mark Cavendish just
grinding,
flanked by one of the Argos Shimano riders, and Danny Pate of Team Sky. He's just being marshalled as well by one of his teammates, and the other rider from Movistar has done his job as well. So he's come off the front. Doesn't look like Garmin are going to take up the chase. They were happy to just sit in there. So we've got a couple of attackers now. Pirazzi is one of them, and the other one's this 82R rider. Can't quite get the number for you, but Mark just suffering slightly up here. He's got to plough on. It's not that far from the top. You never know what might happen. He might be able to just get himself back on the following descent and make it over the steadier climb coming up towards the finish.
Well, it's Gastar heading off now. Belletti, incidentally, is the quick man from AG2R, and might well, they've got other options as well, let's not forget. Betancourt is a bit punchy. We'll see.
And here comes Visconti. Pirazzi's up the road. He's the biggest threat to Visconti in the blue jersey competition. Visconti probably going to spring out take the remaining points that are on offer. So 2 riders up the road. We've got Gastoer from AG2R and Raji Désir, I'm going to pronounce it in the French tongue. Pirazzi, who will surely take the win in the points as they cross the line up here and go possibly into that leader's jersey at the end of today.
Yes, Pirazzi looks like he's been a victim of a low bridge. He's got a very distinct profile to him, sort of straight-nosed off the forehead.
Not far off, Mark, is he?
No. He's not.
Look at the string in front. Just
you know, this could be Mark Cavendish's day, and it's not one you'd automatically say so. He's when he's best minded to do so, he will go for it. Pirazzi's done it right now.
This is a really steep section now. Just as he turn this left-hand corner, you can see the GPM at the top, but it's kind of 16, 17%. I was looking very similar to Pirazzi as I came up here earlier on.
I've never looked like him.
A third of the speed.
There he goes, and he's got it in the bag, this one. He's just out of the saddle and absolutely determined. Well, if he does end up with this jersey...
I'm glad to see him struggling as well.
Yeah, down on the saddle, thinking he got some momentum, and he just made the mistake and had to sit back in, or stand back up, and he's crossed the line now. Oh, gosh, it was close there, wasn't it? And just bouncing his way up. To make sure that he at least stays in touch. Visconti crosses the line in the blue jersey.
Yeah, he takes 2 points. So they're equal on points now. It's going to be a count back on who's won the most KOMs, I think.
Yeah, it'll be Visconti, I imagine, but Pirazzi's getting close. 20.3 then, that's the first climb of today, and it was quite hard.
Oh, it's Mark, he's still struggling on. I think he's got a good chance of hanging in here, and he is elongated the bunch. He's got a couple of teammates with him to help, and look how deep he's digging, just to have a chance of this stage win, but it really is a hard finish to this climb. 16 to 18% on this point.
Yeah, he's weaving, and if he does come out victor today, he earned it right here. Don't forget that. Mark Cavendish riding like a hero at the moment, but also just hanging on. If he can get over this, it's not quite immediate respite. But the second time, the final climb today, will be much gentler on him, and if he can get within striking distance, then of course he's going to feature. But how much did he leave behind? Well, I guess we're going to find out. Montescaglioso dealt with.
Pirazzi back in the bunch then, by the looks of it, as Gastoer just ploughs on. Was that one of the Escatel riders just following behind? I just saw it.
They do that regularly.
Yeah, one of the Escatel riders in it, led by BMC. Daniel Oss, I think that was on the front, and perhaps they are thinking of one of their sprinters. Maybe Taylor Finney's made it over in the group, or Adam Blythe. Not got too many names. It's still, what, 80, 90 riders left here at least?
Yeah, at least, and Mark Cavendish is within them.
I don't know, he's just slightly off the back, Mark Cavendish, in the next group coming around the corner now, but good chance for him to get back on, but BMC look like they're doing a job to make sure he doesn't.
Yes, well, trying to put some distance between themselves and he, and just coming round, we're waiting.
That's the group in the distance there that contains Cavendish, so we'll probably see it as being led by the Amiga Pharma Quick Step team. Here they come. 1, 2, 3 in front of Cavendish, so they've got 20-30 seconds to close on the rear of the bunch, and it will help them, the fact that the bunch is going to get strung out, because the riders at the back will have to brake somewhat, and so the distance between the front of their group and the back of the peloton should come down naturally.
Yes, there'll be a natural coming together ahead of that final climb. And at last we've got the bird up, and it looks like the storm clouds have receded. Pirazzi, Gastar and Visconti as your mounted sprint, so Visconti's still hunting those points and gets a solitary one here on stage 5.
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong category climb. So 3, 2 and 1. Yeah, so Visconti's still got that by a point.
Was it Catfall?
Yeah, 4th category climb.
Yeah, some elements of it were far worse than that, but it was short burst, so the average coming down. 19.1 kilometres to go. Well, the charge is on, you know.
Lovely little descent this was.
Yeah.
Still dry for them now, which is good.
Very nice. In fact, today there are a number of trees which have got what look like mattresses strapped to them. There you go. That looked like an uncertified hoarding. Incidentally, somebody popped out yesterday and daubed all kind of promo. There's the trees with the mattresses. they literally are just sort of padding on the trees which lean over here. There's one they missed. Oh dear, he didn't. Hopefully he didn't get clipped. I think it's just a puncture rather than a tumble, but the bike is on the deck ready with the wheel off by the looks of things. That's a good way to prep for your team. Maybe I'm lying. Let's have a look. We'll have another look in a moment. If you can just knock off the wheel. Yes, he has done. It's a front wheel he's waiting
while
for.
We're is that Kobo?
Prepped and ready.
Just wondering why we're stuck on him, whether it was one of their GC riders, but in Chelsea it's the best for them. Still BMC pushing on hard towards the front. Looks like Lampre also helping them. So I think Lampre are going for Pizzato today. They're trying to keep the... Wow, what's happening with Blanco? They're also having a big dig here.
Well, yeah, I said they've been lively at the top. I'm just wondering whether it is a Chilingi kind of day. Well, we'll see. Front of the race then, as we stand, and Euskaltel represented by Rob Vrecha, the Slovenian, and it is 82 hours Ben Gastow again. He just can't help himself. He loves to be involved. 15.7 to go then, and we're on that sort of gentle hiatus between the two climbs. When's this going to really kick off now?
Well, it obviously already has. It's kind of a chase to get back on. There's a chase to bring these two back into the fold. The last time of the day, which is not categorised as 5k drag, and that starts in just over 5 kilometres time. Bunch being led by Blanco team, interestingly enough. Wasn't expecting to see that. Don't think they've got anybody particularly favourable for the stage today, but you can see how quickly the slingshot effect reverses once they get out of the corners and back to the straight roads. A lot of riders coming very, very quickly around and filling the road back up. Be interesting to see a view from the back of the peloton just to see. There we go, Bardiani just starting to chase now. They've obviously got yesterday's winner, Bataglin, who's hoping to repeat that feat today, so they are going to try and chase now. These two riders on the left of your screen back into the fold. All over the road, those team cars aren't there, which is why it was essential that he got a wheel from a teammate, but it's going to make that chase back to this group, particularly with the speed going now at Bardiani at the front of the peloton. It'll make it very hard for Uran to get back here.
Just panning back, hopefully, this camera, just to see if Mark Cavendish has made it back on.
I don't think he has yet. I might be wrong, but...
Hello? A bit of a hit and hope.
Lars back, I think, is it? No, it's not.
Check on him in just a moment's time.
Might be Lars back.
Well, we'll find out in just a
bridge
few
across
time.
Anyway to the front two. Not got a time check on that on them for you at the moment. They're doing pretty well though. He's got a reasonable gap. Well, no, it's only sort of 10 seconds, but if that is Lars back, whoever it is, the Lotto Belisol rider, he's launched himself out very well from the bunch. He's crossed that gap in a matter of no time.
Well, it shows you what's possible, and yeah, he's got this little ramp down that they're dealing with at the moment, so it's high speed, but look at the chase going on as well. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is Lars, and he's going to go straight past him and try and keep this going, because if he's got any chance of staying away, he needs to make the maximum effort now, but still unlikely in my opinion, unless one of the unless Bardiani stops chasing and nobody else starts. But super strong attack from the Danish rider there, not that far in the distance, but let's not forget he won a stage last year after a kind of similar attack. He'd been in the early breakaway all day, and then they made it towards the finish.
That's right, and yes, it was a similar character to this. Off he goes, but I think he needs some kind of backup as well. I guess when you get up there, he will have been aware who was up there, but he gets to see the demeanour and just how fresh they are. You see, there is an old part of town, there's a new part of town. The old part's rather lovely. There's Matera. The new part, which is higher up and kind of shrouds it a little bit, not so. There are troglodytes here who, yes, I think we're going to see a bit more of that as well later on in this year's Giro d'Italia. So some of those houses actually built on the front of caves. There you go. So as we sail by this lovely element of our finish line today, nice to see it as well. We haven't been able to show you, I think you can see down there some of the little cuts into the hillside where I'm hearing that some of the families here on top of this mount have actually been here or can trace their ancestors back 6,000 years. How do they do that? They say, well, there's burial chambers and DNA evidence. So you can say, yeah, that's... If you were to describe your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, you'd be saying great an awful long time. 10.8 kilometres to go then. They've got a bit of pace about them. It's been the escapees, and it's been animated here by Lars Bak, who's come into this forming this trio, and yeah, they've kind of got a little bit of belief, perhaps. Well, they're stretching their legs, and if the peloton starts looking at each other and, you know, does not focus overly on this, stranger things have happened. Lars Bak took a stage last year from something similar, but he's going to have to dispense with these guys, I think, if they don't start just pulling their weight. They're relaying just for the time being. Matera, right hand side of your screen, it is our destination, and at the front of the race, 3 riders now, as Lars Bak has just bridged over to the pairing. Vrecha, the Slovenian, he's good and feisty, and once again AG2R represented in a break. They seem to have been doing a lot of this, and it's Gestauer again, and I think he's done a couple.
And they're marshalling behind as well. And Bardiani are done. Their 3 riders that were working on the front have finished working. Just goes to show you how strong the trio in front are going. But looks like Androni has started to take the chase up. Sky still keeping Bradley Wiggins out of trouble. No news on whether Uran has made it back to the bunch yet. So I'm not exactly sure on that. Androni must be working for... I think Gavazzi was dropped very early on. Just trying to decide which of their riders they must be working for. Feline, yes, Feline was second yesterday, wasn't he? There's some real action going on.
There is, look at this, and Androni Giocattoli are going as well. And is Gavazzi going to have a burst for this? We'll see. 8.4 to go. Yeah, got cars in the way.
Problems for Garmin. Don't think that was Hejda, because he would have had teammates with him if it was. But one of the Garmin riders just having a little bit of trouble there. Just going to try and look on my other screen, see who it was. Danielson is also up there in the GC. Let's hope it looks like it might. Yeah, I think that's Tom Danielson that had the trouble.
Well, he was busy up front, you know, early on. It is Tom, and back he comes.
He's not got far to get to the team cars. He's a supreme climber in his own right. So. He should make it back on. It's a bit easier to get back on. Oh, here comes Uran. So he made it into the team cars. Looked like he had a bit of a slingshot there.
I think he did. He'll take whatever he can get on a day such as today. Incidentally, it's just started to drizzle again at the finish. I hope that's not a preamble to an absolute deluge. Oh dear, look at this. You want suffering?
Yeah, and Mark never making it back to the group. I'm trying to see whether Viviani's there as well from Cannondale. I can't see him in there. And I think Viviani might still be in that front group of sprinters there, including Apollonia,
interesting
as well.
Interesting to see Mark just looking to see somebody who might be going well just to take the wheel off, and yeah, it doesn't look like he's offering up much assistance, and I think that may well be Mark done for the day. Retrieval from that?
No,
to go? Not going to happen.
Done. You can see just by the demeanour of the whole group, if they were wanting to get back on, you'd be strung out, taking turns in the front and going very fast. And here comes Rabatini, last year's King of the Mountains, on the attack now. We've got a group of, about 6, 7, well, even more than that, 8 riders off the front here now. Rabatini is the one in the luminous yellow, just off the front on his own at the moment. Another stage winner from last year's race.
What a stage that was as well. Just nipping in front of Rodriguez at the line. And, after we thought it was going to be heartbreak, and he's gone. Looking very, very strong here. He is one of these guys who he's very small in stature, but he packs a real punch on a day such as this. Maybe we've done him a little bit of disrespect by not highlighting him further, but yeah, he'll let his legs do their own talking right now. So those who've been helping out, just trying to stay in touch essentially, but yeah, this is Tom Danielson trying to get back on here, because he really is part of the firepower up front for keeping Ryder Hajidal in that position of defending champion and indeed contender.
Bunch right being led by Saxo Bank Tinkoff now. I wonder whether Benati is still in this group. He doesn't like the big bunch sprints anymore. He's still got the power. He's just a bit too nervous, but something like this where it's whittled down a little bit more might suit him. Yeah, and if he behaves himself, because he can get a little bit lethal. Rabatini there, winning one stage of the Giro. Famously last year, it was up much more of a climb than this, incidentally.
and we thought he'd lost it with around about 100 metres to go. There's one final climb where he just nipped on the inside, and I think I went suitably ballistic at the time. But yeah, it was great to see. I'd like to see him do well here, but with 6.8 to go, and I think they've got his card marked, and he's going to be reabsorbed before you know it. Chase being led here by Saxo Tinkoff, as you can see. Rafa Majka, the pole right there, and just bouncing away. Unconcerned so far and being protected. He's got 3 riders around him. De Luca doing a turn for Oscar Gatto today, so returning the favour perhaps. 6.6 to go.
Fellini's struggling to keep up with his group. It looked like it was him that they were working for, his team.
A loose balloon, and well, I just hope it pops and doesn't cause. I'm surprised you don't see more of that, frankly. Not that much of a hazard, but no. There we are, there's your answer as far as Rabatini is concerned. Just drifts over to that side of the road. 6.5 to go. You see how wet the roads are. Absolutely clean as a whistle, though. And Saxo Tinkoff.
A kilometre to go before they reach the top of this long drag. It's been harder actually than I expected. I think the wind's turned, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. And when I came up here this morning, it was headwind. It would have made it a lot easier in the bunch than it is now. It's been fast up this climb. As I said, they peak on this one just within the last 5 kilometres. You'll see that banner, and a couple of 100 metres later, they'll turn quite a sharp right, quite a pinch point there as well. And
the green shoulders, white and red of the Italian flag. Dead centre. Dagan Cole's there. It is. He's gone. Now, can he make it stand? Hubert has left them behind, but not for dead at the moment. The pace picks up, but who's going to be tempted out to go with him? Now, Don Dagan watched him sail by and didn't respond, so he's holding something back here. We'll see. And still there's no response. It's just a gradual increase in tempo. Who are Blanco working for today?
I still think they're just keeping Gesink out of trouble. He's the... They've only got 1 rider left in front of him towards the front of the bunch. I think just the GC rider a little bit nervous yet again for this stage, that they didn't want to lose any time or be too far towards the back of the bunch. 200 metres roughly to go, or 300 metres to go for this man on your screens now, Dupont of AG2R, before he reaches the summit of this climb, and then it's quite a lot downhill coming in towards the finish.
Well, Pelazzotti looked like he was being tempted out there, and he's thought better of it. There he is, and oh, hello. The Spanish champion's also involved there for Movistar. Ventoso looking in a good place. Spat out to the left-hand side of the road, and round come the contenders. On the end game right now, 4.7 kilometres to go. And the climb will be dealt with, and then there's a series of little downhills through town. They make a turn. Dan, let's just talk through that of what we've got ahead of us right now. You can see the sheeting water still present.
He's just about to go over the top of the climb. Now from there it's pretty much straight and slightly downhill for quite a long time until they reach around about 1 kilometre to go for the finish. At that point he'll take a left-hand turn, a couple of 100 metres straight, another left, and then we've got the last 700 or 800 metres slightly uphill, 2 or 3% up towards the finish. I've noticed that Navadowski sits also here for Team Garmin. He took a win in a stage in the Tour Romandie just a couple of weeks ago. On fantastic form, he's been looking very, very strong throughout, helping Hejda. If he gets his own little chance towards the end, not a bad guy to put some backing on.
Santa Romita is playing wingman, guardman for Cadel Evans, just off the front. Hubert Dupont has gone for it, 6th time at the Giro. And well, will he pick something up beautiful today? It gets easier, and if he's got to rely on these guys watching each other, but the pace is going to absolutely go through the ceiling before you know it, despite the fact we've got a little bit of a wet road. And Gatto there in the bright yellow just gets himself into a safe place there. He clearly knows the danger right now. This is a decent gap, you know.
Yeah, he's doing very well. Got 3 BMC riders now on the front. Morabito, I think Santa Romita, Evans is there, he won't be working, and also Os, who is the guy that I presume they're going to work for. I think they're going to need a little bit of help at the moment if they're going to claw this Frenchman back.
I think so, because he's broken at exactly the right time, just before the crest, and the big teams are starting to watch each other right now. There, BMC doing a protection job for Cadel Evans. He's P2 at the moment, and he's got 2 other players around him. Maybe he can let one of his teammates take glory today, but he's in a great position. A little bit of argy-bargy, the Italian champions there as well towards the front. This is boding well for all kinds of fireworks, but they're still looking at each other. And here comes Ventoso as well, the Spanish Challenge champion, drifting into position. He's got a Cannondale rider with him. I think it might be Viviani as well. 3.4 to go, and has he mugged the field here? We've got another surprise. No is the answer. They're onto him, and it's a charge being led by BMC.
Yeah, BMC still with 3 rides, just calmly bringing Hubert Dupont back. Degenkolb is looking very ominous, just a few, ominous should I say, just a few places behind. He was just in front of Ventoso when you mentioned him from the overhead shot. I think we've got Battaglin also there in the green, just to the side of Degenkolb. We can just afford to go off the pace a little bit, BMC, but just as I say that, they've got another rider coming up towards the front to keep the pace high for them.
Viviani has somebody with him, and back into consideration is Bardiani, and I suspect yesterday's stage winner. We will see. Battaglin paces up, and here comes Saxo Tinkoff as well. Oh,
Navadauskas is also there from Garmin. Mentioned him just a few moments ago. He's obviously been given free rein to go for his own chances today. I wouldn't bet against Navadauskas. He looked particularly strong the last couple of days on some of the climbing stage, and if he's climbing well, I'm pretty sure he's sprinting well as well. Visconti coming up on the left-hand side, just to the end of the BMC train in that blue jersey. He just missed out on the stage win yesterday, coming in 3rd position.
And is it Quintero as well, just coming on the barriers for Colombia. We look down, and they are all over the place at the moment. The line is beckoning, and still we're all together in the run for home with a rider from Bardiani Valvove out on the front. Battaglin's also there, stage winner yesterday. Can he do something else today? Big question, and ominously though for everybody, as Argos Shimano and Degenkolb just drag themselves into position here. I think it's de Kort who's in front of him right now, and the pace is absolutely rocketing. They're going to make this turn. Oh, and Gatto suddenly finds a little bit of room, does he? Having to use his elbows. There he is in the bright yellow for you as well. We've got our leader, Paolini's also involved. Goodness me, and Orica Greenedge are also represented here. I think it's Lee. Is it Gossi? I think, or it's Lee Howard. We'll have a look in a few moments' time. If it is Gossi, this is going to be a fantastic performance by him. Both of them are there, in fact. And there they go. They sail into it. Oh, down! There you go, and it's a huge crash. Now, who's got through? And I think Degenkolb has made it.
Well, one of the Bardiani riders has made it through. He's doing the lead out, but he now finds himself on his own.
Oh, my Lord. This is a gift from heaven, I've got to say, and it's Canola. It's Canola from Bardiani. Oh, goodness me. Can it be 2nd stage win in a row for Bardiani? I think so. Marco Canola is going to take this one by the looks of things. Oh, they're all over the place.
Riders just trying to make his way back up. I can't remember how long Canola had done on the front before he set off.
Well, I'm looking further back down the line here, and it's a long drag race, and I think that Gretsch is going to get him here. Patrick Gretsch has got him. Oh, he's fighting for it all the way. Well, here we go. It's the final run in, and will Canola be caught here? 500 metres, 400 metres. They're speeding their way here. It's a bid for glory. There's a lot of big names being taken out. Oh, and he's struggling. He's bending squares at the moment. 300 metres to go. Can he make the biggest win of his career?
No,
he's got a man on it. It's Degenkolb powering his way through, punching a big hole in the air. Oh, heartbreak for Canola as Degenkolb does what the bookies have said he was going to do all day. 100 metres to go. Surely nobody's going to catch him from this point. Argos Shimano have got this absolutely nailed on. He stretches his legs. Others are going to be wiping their wounds today. The line approaches. Degenkolb is your hero. Crosses the line brilliantly so. Oh, and Katusha also represented way down in the line there. It was Vizioso comes across the line. Another one of the V's that were picked out today. Goodness gracious me. We knew it was going to be tough, so it proved to be. Let's just hope everyone is safely back on their bikes in just a wee while. They'll get the same time as the winner, well within the last 3 kilometres, as you saw. Wet roads, final turns, took a toll. Goodness me, but Degenkolb, after all the questions, it came down to the big man, and he delivered. Wow. Get your breath time and spare a thought for these guys who are amongst the wreckage on the road, and well, it may well play into the hands of anyone who is within those 3Ks. Here it is. This is the moment, and it was one of the Argos Shimano guys that went down by the looks of it. think it might have been Cohen de Court or possibly Gretsch, but it left Degenkolb with a chance. And Bardiani Valvoli must have thought they got a second one coming here. Didn't quite happen for Canola. In fact, he faded, as you saw, as Degenkolb ate him up with a cruel 200 metres to go. And in he came for glory. He was the red-hot favourite today, many people's pick. And there he showed just exactly why. Strength and not a little luck as well, perhaps, to have avoided the incident. Wow, what a day. John Degenkolb, winner of stage 5. You know what, if we'd started today and just said, who do you think? Degenkolb was the red-hot favourite, but yeah, a strong man, a likeable man, and Argo Shimano have got a stage win. Here's that fall again. Well, front first, dab on the brakes and down. There's a lot of other riders at the same point. I can only think that that is where the washout that we had earlier on had found itself. Degenkolb victorious, and by a margin. Super win by him. And Katusha with Vicioso, nearest man to him. Well, credit's where it's due. The big German kept himself safe while just about everybody else got found out. Joy unbridled after such a day. We're just watching them come in at the moment, and the 3K rule with the crash may well have actually played into the hands of some of those who might well have been gapped. Degenkolb ahead of Vicioso. Paul Martins, bravo to him, doing it for Blanco, so he was the man they were thinking of. Henao, mind you, we say that, of course, with our fall, anything could have happened. Trentin Patel, goodness gracious me. Here's your overall standings. Luca Paolini, yes, there it is, 25 seconds over Henao. Uran had a problem today. Insausti 26 seconds down. Nibali 31. Ezran 32 seconds down. Hajidal 34 down. Caruso, Sant'Ambrogio, Evans, Danielson. Goodness me. Well, tell you something, Bradley Wiggins is being knocked here, and the time deficit is just continuing to ebb ever so slightly. There is a time trial for him to make amends, but Cadell Evans, yeah, he's on the march, is he not? This is stage 6, Mola di Bari to Margherita di Savoia. Apologies for that. Storm. Yes, we've got just over 169 kilometres to be dealt with today. The wind is blowing across, and it is more or less wide open. We're heading along the southern Adriatic coast. It's Puglia, the region, the 4th region, in fact, that we've had to deal with through the last couple of days, the last 4 days. And there is our destination, Margherita di Savoia. 2 laps we are going to deal with. Now, we are, at the moment, the victims of a ministry inspection of our technical equipment, and so we're just waiting for that to be completed before we can bring you the live pictures. This is the run, and you can see it's got a little bit of a lumpy bit at the beginning, but it's absolutely pan flat, and as it starts and finishes more or less at sea level, all by the odd metre. Yes, we are expecting a sprint finish today, and we'll be delighted to bring it to you. So this is our finish line here, Margherita di Savoia. We have become the victim of the Ministry of Inspection. They are testing out our technical equipment. I think we're all certificated, but it's those certificates that need to be ticked, and you know, it's chaps with clipboards at the moment that we're dealing with. Mola di Bari is where we started off today. And yes, it was just about an hour ago. Got to tell you that there are 2 men up the road, and they're kind of keeping it in the family. Both Aussies, and they've got a decent gap as well. It's Jack Bowbridge from Blanco and Cameron Worth yet again from Canada. Well, the trophy on display at the top of the day for the sign-on. And yeah, all jerseys, of course, represented. Visconti is in the blue, despite the best efforts of Perazzi yesterday to get back at him. No doubt about the team that's hitting above its weight at the moment. It's got to be Bardiani Valvoli, but there is what they're all racing for. And yes, if you are a quick man, quick man, then your chances of doing something spectacular are starting to run out. Stefano Garzali is the granddad of this entire tour at 39 years of age, but the veterans are running well. Paolini himself in the pink is of course 36, and so it's Cadell. Strange to see Cadell Evans actually wearing the red jersey. He's supposed to be nursing it. He was not supposed to be nursing it for Paolini. There you go. It's supposed to be John Degenkolb. Maybe the jersey didn't fit. Who knows? Time to bless yourself then and take to the road. A flat one today. Nothing too untoward, but no starter. Cheng Ji, unfortunately gone down with a fever. Hey, Paolini's got a smile. Well, I don't know what bit of his what bit of him they tickled yesterday, but he's certainly looking a little bit brighter and perkier. Mark Cavendish likewise did a great effort yesterday to get himself into contention at least until the final climb, and then it just all went slightly sour. So some big gaps for some of the quick men, including him. Those who were close at hand when the crash went down was taking the time of the finisher, which was John Degenkolb. So that's how they rolled out this morning, and Margherita di Saboia is where we're heading. So what about yesterday? And Paolini, well, he held on and still leads all round by 17 seconds. We had some rogue information early on before they finally annulled the timings, as it were, and so Oran stays second place, the Sky Colombian, with Inzausti in third, 26 seconds adrift, but no doubt it's Paolini once again. He may well hold on to that jersey until we get to the individual time trial. There, the rest of the top 10 for you. Vincenzo Nibali in fourth place, 31 seconds, and some space, only 3 seconds though, between him, Haichedal and Wiggins, who are close at hand. Haichedal, the defending champion, of course. Gianpaolo Caruso is in there for Katusha, courtesy of a good team time trial that they posted. And Enau also there for Sky. So 3 Sky riders represented. They did boss, of course, the team time trial. And Mauro Sant'Ambrogio from Vini Fantini, still very much in touch. 39 seconds. He's carried that deficit as well. So he's been where he needs to be. Cadell Evans has been busy picking up bonuses, and in fact has gone into the top 10. Ministry has put away its clipboards, and whoever is their boss, El Capitano, is now doing chokey. Yes. Very warm welcome to you. The sun's up and we've got a very light breeze. It might well turn into a headwind for what we expect to be a sprint finish at the end of today. They'll have a couple of laps around the finish town and we are racing. Well, certainly the Aussies are. Bowbridge and Worth have decided that this day is going to go to Down Under. If it's not them, then surely you've got to be thinking about Orica Greenedge and the likes of Matt Goss, Lee Howard. It's a long list, and they may well feature. So it could be an Aussie day today. The chase on, well, it's happening, and it's guess who? Omega Pharma Quickstep. And guess who their principal sprinter is? It is, of course, Mark Cavendish. So yes, we are expecting fireworks at the end of the race today, and the gap is 4 minutes and 18. That's been gradually coming back after bouncing off just beyond 6 minutes. I think we've got a maximum break of about 6 minutes and 15. There's only 2 of them. It is hot. They will be in sight on the road here of the chasing peloton. So I think they're probably going to be doomed. Bisceglie is where we're going through right now. The coast is nice, if not downtown.
Yeah, we're also, I'm just looking on my other monitor, we'll see it on the right-hand side of your pitch now. France Dejeux also joining the party with Omega Pharma Quickstep at the front of the bunch. We haven't mentioned Nasser Bouhanni, the French champion, too much so far today. And he's, of course, another one that's got a good chance of going for victory in, as what you said, is going to be almost certainly a bunch sprint finish, and Omega Pharma Quickstep will be pleased about that. It's only a 2-man break up the road, but as I said at the start of the programme, before we got the live pictures, 2 very strong men indeed, and might be equally as hard as a lesser 4-man break to bring back. So the fact that they have got some help will really aid them towards the end, when they'll keep a few more riders in that lead out for Cav.
I think maximum height above sea level today is around about 30 metres, but to be honest, most of it is like 1 or 2. It's very much a coastal profile, and it will be at the finish today. As you can see, we have just some junior cyclists who and some étape riders as well out there. Margherita di Savoia is where we're heading, and we have a double loop around town to contend with. As you can see from the fronds of the palms, yes, we have a breeze here, and it's kind of a crosshead as well, so that means that the sprinters will be leaving it extraordinarily late before they turn on the gas. Well, we had live pictures just a few moments ago, and it seems like we've just got a little bit of dropout as we're trying to sort out our relay to the aircraft and then back to us. What I can tell you though is we have two men up the road. It's Bowbridge and Berth keeping it Australian. There may well be an Australian party towards the end, we'll see. Thanks to those of you who's been on Twitter, by the way. It's always a pleasure to hear from you, and we'll be coming to some of your questions in just a few moments' time. Breakfast, all the other food is absolutely spectacular. You know, full English.
Yeah, why do you not do a full English?
Average race speed high today, 40.722 kilometres per hour. By the time we get to the end, what sort of speeds will we be doing on this 2 kilometre dart?
Oh, well, in the final kilometre they'll be averaging over 60 kilometres per hour, and the maximum speed probably going to be, well, normally I'd say up towards 70 kilometres per hour in the kick to the line, but wind seems to be picking up. I'm just having a look outside the commentary box now. It's a headwind finish, maybe slightly from the rider's right-hand side, so a slight head crosswind, and that will affect the speed. It probably also affects the tactics, but they will get to see that finish line a couple of times before they finally arrive and go for the victory or not, and so they will be able to decide which side of the road they want to sprint from, how long they're going to leave it until they unleash the sprint. There is your man Francesco Chicchi, number 223. You can see that he's a sprinter, can't you?
Come on, give us a thumbs up, give us some kind of information. He's looking grumpy as anything at the moment. 27 pro victories, so the pro since 2003, so long in the tooth, and long on ambition, and hopefully today is one of those days. Yeah, third time or 3 rides on the Giro to his name, and out of the saddle here, stretching out the legs. He's got a big powertrain on board in terms of his own musculature, so we know that Kiki can do it, but whether it be today or not, we both think Mark Cavendish is going to be the man. Matt Goss is going to go very close. It might be those two 1-2. So we've looked a little bit further afield, and Gavazzi is Dan's choice and Kiki is mine, suspecting that Cav and Matty Goss will in fact share that. Of course, in around about 12 kilometres time. I think a little round of applause for those guys as well. A minute and 13. They're going to be within sight, by the way. I think the camera might well just pan back by the time they get along to the end of this very, very arrow straight section of road right now. And you will see the chargers on their case. Probably being caught a little bit early, but I think everyone is more or less comfortable on all being together as they start the circuits.
I think they're probably a little bit nervous in the bunch about these two riders, because they are just really strong, and if they have saved anything towards the end, it could be pretty difficult to catch them back. So you might often see a gap of around 2.5 minutes. By this point it's down to well, half of that, 1 minute and 13 seconds. There is Grigabol just picking up bottles for his teammates.
Well, more than that, I think he's waiting for more help. He's got a brake issue, and the running repairs were a problem, and he's asked for it to be looked at once again, and he's just going for a complete bike. There, away he goes, bottles over, off you pop. No great hurryment about him at the moment, despite the fact that the pace is quite high as we stand, as the choose your route through the or round the roundabout here, and the Miglia Rosa group. Yeah, it's not split yet. You know, it might do when we get on the street circuit. You might see some space being shown as that elastic band stretches, especially as some of the high tempo guys start to really get their trains in motion. It will stretch down. It's just a question of how much of a coming together we will get when they rest up just before the final charge.
Yeah.
So any change today in your as you've been watching everybody? Who you think's fresher up for it?
No, I'm going to stick with the same people that I chose.
Well, a couple of curves and a little bit of too much thought, or maybe not enough. And this can happen, and we've got some decent riders here as well. Kopecky is one of those who's been caught out here, and hello.
Kobo, he's having a disaster of a race. Is the ex-winner of the winner of the 2011 Vuelta at España, Kobo.
Garzelli as well.
Crashed on the warm-up for the team time trial on day 2. Crashed again yesterday on the descent of the penultimate climb of the day, and more problems for him today. Things going from bad to worse for the Spanish rider.
So Garzelli gets pushed off behind Kobo. No injuries, but about the last thing you need, and especially as they now have to put in quite a bit of effort to get back on, because the pace is quite high as we speak. Well into the 40s, and we'll be nudging 50s by the end here. 38 remaining. You can see from the camera bike here, oh dear, there was a lot of slipping and sliding, and some pretty good work there, I've got to say, by Rubiano, who was on a bucking Bronco for a while. Or is this another crash? Ignacio, it is. Gosh, they're starting to mirror their own incidents here. And yes, Inyutenko, he was at the run part, I think, a couple of years ago. That was last year. Oh, he's going to have that sort of relaying pace now if he's going to get back on. Meanwhile, still looking lumpy and having to bear the weight. Can I get rid of this, mate? No. It looks like Jack Bobridge has actually dispensed with a couple of bottles. He's looking back at him now, having a laugh.
Well, they know what's happening behind it. They know that the peloton doesn't really want to catch them up before they have to. The ideal situation on a sprint for a sprinter's team is to try and catch the breakaway riders in the last 10 kilometres, and in fact, with the race radios, that makes it's fairly easy for them to judge that. Still going reasonably fast. Francis de Jeux on the front of the bunch at the moment. I think it's just Anthony Roux there on the front on his own. I don't think Omega Pharma Quickstep are joining in at all anymore, and be interested to see whether they actually do sit up completely at the front of the race and go back into the bunch.
Well, there you are. It's not been the most thrilling day in terms of attacks and the like, but you know, it has its place, as does Pozzo Vivo. The diminutive Pozzo Vivo. It's almost Samuel Dumoulin's scale. I think there's probably only a centimetre between them. Amazing. And if you want small, it rolls on, does it not, with Ospina.
Also number 15, Betancourt, the Colombian rider there, is equally small.
Yes.
But the catch being made then.
It's only because they really have almost put the brakes on. Look, I'm fed up with all this water, mate. Can you come and take some off me, says Cameron. Jack had a nice little wry smile as he went by him and looked back to see his lumpy torso. And through they sail. And it's Francis de Jeux thinking about Nacer Bouhanni, the French champion, and Omega Pharma Quickstep thinking about Mark Cavendish. They're doing a lot of the work. You know who this is playing into is Matt Goss, because they haven't had to do a mega turn so far.
Yeah, he did have a crash yesterday, Matt Goss. Not really got any reports on exactly how he's feeling. I mean, he tweeted last night saying onwards and upwards for tomorrow. A bit disappointed not to have had my chance today. So from that, I can presume it wasn't too bad, but you never know exactly the following morning how you're going to feel. Another crash victim from yesterday. I'll just go through a few of the guys that came down. Actually, we had a complete report in our little classification paper. I think Garzelli was possibly among those. Oh no, he wasn't, because he got dropped, wasn't he? Didn't he? Earlier on in the stage. I see you remember him having a...
Oh, Kiki certainly did. Yeah, I think Garzelli failed later on. I'm hoping Kiki picks it up today. This is sort of my little side bet.
Brought up on the left-hand side. No real control at the moment. How many riders of Omega Pharma Quickstep got left? That's the question.
Pippo Pozzati and Ferrari, who we poo-pooed earlier for Lampre in their purple and pink, are also coming into the frame. And there's the leader, almost locked alongside Cadel Evans, is he? Yes, Evans in there, and Bradley Wiggins as well. They all want to stay very much part of coming together and not really be the victims of any gaps. Francis de Jeux once more for Bouhanni.
Yeah. With Brad in second place, he's using a lot of energy up today. He's got that time trial in a couple of days' time, but he obviously feels that it's worth it. It's Dominique Rollin on his wheel, not Roland, sorry, the Francis de Jeux. So they've still got a couple of two riders from Francis de Jeux in front of Nacer Bouhanni. One of those just about to fall back. His job for the day done. This is the last corner just come out, and it's Bradley Wiggins himself leading the entire bunch through with 3.4 k's to go.
Amazing. Degenkolb is in there as well. The red jersey, you can see it on the back of a pairing of Argos Shimano riders. In fact, it was a trio, and it's now turning into a pairing by the looks of things. Nope, still got something left in the tank, and his teammate drifts back in. Saxo Tinkoff are also skirmishing here. Bernati and Breschel, is it, that wants to come up alongside Wiggins, possibly thinking if Wiggo can do it, so can we. And Modolo still shows his face here, but is he all alone, and is it for nothing? 3 to go. Degenkolb's looking extraordinarily comfortable at the moment. Will the red jersey spur him on, possibly becoming a new target for him? Modolo just behind him as well, also tracking him. Weaving across the road they are with 2.8 to go.
Yeah, 2.8 to go. Brad's been on the front for almost a kilometre now, just tracking the camera motorbike when it was a little bit closer. No one willing to go past. I mean, he makes it look easy, but I can assure you he is riding incredibly fast at the moment. BMC coming up on the right-hand side of the road. Who are they going to be working for today? I've not seen Adam Blythe. Taylor Finney's not supposed to be too well. Maybe it's Daniel Oss for today. Let's have to wait and see. It's Cat 11 second place, so actually their sprinter not up there at all at the moment.
Bit of a fight going on just behind Mark Cavendish, just dropped off the bottom of your screen on the right there, and it was Kiki having some real elbows with Nizzolo from Radio Shack. 2.5 to go. They're blanketing the road, and we've got the first of the hidden hopers here, and it's Vakon Soleil and Gregor Boller, I think, that's just hit off. Makato it is, I beg your pardon. He's gone for it here for Vakon Soleil. Is this just a preamble? Who's going to follow him? 2.5 to go. Will it be a brave man today?
Well, it's very unlikely he's going to make it. What he needs is for the riders behind to just run out of energy, and then a bit of a well, we're not going to chase and we're not going to chase, but it's Omega Pharma Quickstep who've refound themselves at the front of the peloton. A couple of their riders, Hurt Stegmans is around about 8th place with Mark Cavendish just on his wheel still. 1,700 metres still to go. The gap between Makato and the peloton a matter of a couple of seconds. Orica Greenedge have got all of their riders finally up towards the front on the left-hand side of the road.
Come on, Gossi and Kev and the rest of you. Nizzolo is here, so is Modolo and Gavazzi. Viviani also in the frame. This is going to be monster. And all of a sudden it is Orica Greenedge that are in position and ready to roll.
Yeah, it's birthday boy Spain Tough doing a big turn on the front, just in front of Brett Lancaster. A couple of the Cannondale riders on their wheel. The second of those, I think, must be Viviani. Matt Goss, as you can just one of the Cannondale riders squeezing between Omega Pharma Quickstep and Argos Shimano. 1100 to go.
They're all working together, but working against each other as well, I think you might say. It's Orica Greenedge at the moment that are on the front with Argos Shimano there. Now this is where the spread comes now. Who's going to pop up? Just look wide across the line. Who's got what it takes and when's it going to go? Well, Argos Shimano still have a massive amount of pace about them, looking for the red jersey of Degenkolb, and simply cannot see it at the moment. So they're going for another alternative. Ken de Court also in the frame here. Now then, who is going to step up to the mark?
Omega Pharma Quickstep. You've got one rider in front of Stegmans. Stegmans on the right-hand side of the road, just trying to get the gap.
Oh, and Stegmans has found it, a huge punch in the air. He's got here. They're wrestling all over the place. Who is behind Stegmans? You know the answer. It's Mark Cavendish. When's he going to light it? Suddenly Bohali in the French jersey comes to the barriers, and it's Cavendish rolling and rocking all over the place. Gavazzi's nearest man to him. Oh, and here comes Gossi as well. It's going to be close. Oh, but Kaz takes it. Oh, and the big smack on the handlebars. It comes from Bohani, who's beaten again. Quality will out, and Viviani was also in the frame. What a race this is. It's Giro d'Italia, and the best sprinters on the planet having a go at each other. You've just got to love it. Mark Cavendish gets his second win of this Giro d'Italia, and a happier man you'd be hard pushed to find. Brilliant strategy, perfectly delivered. How's about that, everybody? Oh, and the arguments are going on here. You spoiled it for me and I spoiled it for you, and who spoiled it for everybody? Goodness gracious. Well, catch your breath. I hope you enjoyed that. I think I need to lie down. Mark Cavendish, winner of stage 6. And look at this, there's a little bit of temperament being displayed. There's a lot at stake, let's not forget. But Having the biggest slice of that steak is Mark Cavendish. Average speed 42.957 kilometres per hour. And apologies accepted, it seems. That little skirmish over. My goodness, let's have a look at this from the aerial shot right now. Cannondale were on the tail of Orica Green Edge as they went long. Brett Lancaster had been very much involved today, checked over his shoulder to try and find out where Gossi was, and he was nowhere to be seen at that point. We're still wrestling through it. We thought that Kiki might well be involved in the bright yellow here, but watch the number 100. That is Buani, who's been disappointed here today. Cannondale finally got underway with Viviani, who was in the frame, and he lit up and went for it. Sabatini was also close at hand, and everyone looking at each other. In the end, there it is, Omega Farmer, who'd done so much work today. Steegmans we knew would go long, and so he did. And Mark Cavendish double checking all of his shoulders here, and when he goes, he really goes. Viviani on his case here, as you can see, and Matt Goss did get close, didn't he? And so did Buani. What a finish we had for you here. It was a delight to experience. Gavazzi also in the frame. So the world's best sprinters up there, and Buani couldn't believe it. What's not to believe? Mark Cavendish taking another stage today. Confirmation of the results. Mark Cavendish takes it ahead of Viviani. Matt Goss in the frame. Buani also up there. Gavazzi, Belletti, Apollino, Nizzolo, Breschel and Ferrari. We are, yes, speaking for all of us, I think. Mark Cavendish, you'd be hard pushed to find a happier man out there. We'll search, but fantastic. Mark Cavendish does and delivers. What about that? Saying he's got the pink jersey. Job well done for them. It was a job well done. But nobody has a craft at speed like Mark Cavendish, it seems. Amazing. When you see that line of riders that is just behind him here, who he has in his wake underscores this man. He's remarkable. Terrific day today. Viviani taking it ahead of Matt Goss. Boy, was that close. Makes you wonder as well if Matt Goss hadn't been held up in that crash and had to be relayed back. And others, well, that's by the by. You play the hands that you are dealt in this life, and Mark Cavendish has plenty of aces.